Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to today's unseen video. This is where we round up all the talking points from social media, and we have got so much news and stuff to get to, so let's just get straight into it. I know people want the thumbnail story. It's coming up. It's in the WYATTS folder, but I just need to get this done first because The Rock is not planned to work WrestleMania, and WWE are moving forward with creative plans without him. Right. However, WWE is interested in using him should his schedule allow him to work it. Right. Sean Ross, where this story has actually originated from, says WWE Creative is moving forward on the assumption that The Rock isn't working WrestleMania. That would be a little bit more fair, right? So he's just got a slight issue with the way it was worded. It's pretty much the same message, right? We are working towards The Rock not being at WrestleMania, but we have to be very clear in saying this doesn't mean that The Rock won't be at WrestleMania. He absolutely could be at WrestleMania. It's just at the moment there could be a scenario, a likely scenario, where he's not able to due to scheduling conflicts. This is really difficult for The Rock because, of course, he's a big Hollywood star, and depending on the size of the project that he's being presented with, you know, he can't just move schedules around. Like, films will be filmed when they need to be filmed. Like, you're talking about films that can cost $200 million, you know? I think, that's roughly how much Red One cost, like $250 million. Like, you can't just delay that so that you can do WrestleMania, right? So this is the issue that The Rock has got and has had for a long, long time. He has said, though, that where he can, he will really try to prioritize WWE because, of course, he is on the TKO board. It is in his interest, his financial interest, to make sure that TKO, WWE are putting on the best product possible. And he knows of the impact he can have if he is on the show, if he is on the WrestleMania card. So this is certainly not news that I take as being he is definitely not at WrestleMania. The news that we're getting here is that there is now a likely scenario that he won't be at WrestleMania, but he absolutely still could be, right? He absolutely still could be. And actually, to hammer that home, look at this. So The Rock and Cody Rhodes reportedly filmed content together during the Moana 2 premiere. We don't know what this content is, but I don't think it's going to be Gangnam Style, right? I don't think it's going to be a little TikTok dance. I'm thinking it's going to be something towards their, feud, which is definitely coming. This is inevitable, right? They've already planted seeds for this. We saw The Rock hand something back to Cody. So we know that there's something building here. And obviously this as well was the expected WrestleMania 41 main event. So I'm not ready for that to just be completely chucked off the table. But as we've just seen, we know that they are working under the assumption that The Rock may not be able to make it for WrestleMania. So JDS Aviation Adventures, and many of you tagging me in that news. That was certainly what I felt was the biggest news of the day. But actually, it was not that long ago I got tagged, I think by Wrestle Night, in a very interesting Firefly Fun House story, which I know this community in particular will be very, very interested in. So let's go over to the WYATTS folder. Wild theories that make sense. I am always happy to retweet those, right? If you're going to tell me like Tony Khan's going to win the Royal Rumble, I'm probably not going to retweet that. But this one from Kane was quite interesting. Since Scarlett opened the door for Alexa to be in the conversation, what if Scarlett and Abby fight during Monday and then Scarlett takes off Abby's mask, but it's not Nikki? It's Alexa. Then Nikki appears and they abduct Scarlett. Now, the reason why I included this, I don't think Alexa is going to be on the show on Monday, and I don't think we're going to see this happen, right? But the reason why I included it is because the idea of Alexa disguising herself as Abby the Witch at some point had never really crossed my mind, and the visual of that I just thought was really fun. So the word on the street is when Alexa comes back, she's going to come back not a part of this group. She's going to come back and she will do her own thing, and then eventually she will find her way into this group, right? That's the latest rumor, nothing more than a rumor, that I've seen on this. So that's why I'm thinking Monday, this doesn't really add up, doesn't really make sense. Other reports are saying that Alexa will be back kind of early 2025. So again, her being back in December doesn't really make sense. But we know that plans can change. We know that Drew came back a lot earlier than was expected and anticipated. So not impossible, let's put it that way. But certainly that visual of, the mask being removed, but it's not Nikki, turns out to be Alexa. Certainly if it's the first time that the mask has been removed and we see that that could be really fun. That could be really interesting, but maybe something more for next year. Right, thank you to everyone that tagged me in this. I really appreciate the support. I got a big thanks folder as a result. Jordan was the first person that I saw. You hold others to a code that you don't live by. Worse than a liar, a hypocrite. Now, in my mind, this is aimed at Miz. It's aimed at Karrion. It's aimed at both of them, right? Karrion has actually come out and said, it's not aimed at me, right? Have you not worked it out yet, right? And as we've said before, Karrion is very clever at this. Karrion is very good at dealing the cards and making them work to his favor. Yeah. So mind games, constant mind games with Karrion. Whatever he puts out on social media, I take it with a pinch of salt, right? I've said this before. I'll say this till the cows come home because he puts out a lot of stuff. I see him kind of reinforcing a lot of people's theories and a lot of their beliefs. And they're not even theories and beliefs that I deem to be accurate. I just think that they work in his favor. And so that's why he confirms them and all this kind of stuff, right? So here he said that isn't aimed at him. But to be honest, I think everyone in this picture is in the firing line of the Wyatt Sicks. I think they're coming for all of them, yeah? But this message may have just been aimed at The Miz, right? May have just been aimed at The Miz. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. You hold others to a code that you don't live by. That's the crux of the message from the Wyatt Sicks. Not very cryptic. This image is this image. This was when Final Testament approached Miz, told him he had to find Bo. Of course, he ended up getting kidnapped, and then that led to him being released, and then the attack, and blah, 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 blah. So, Kaylin, thank you. Word of Wrestling saying that this quote seems very similar to this one from Tennessee Williams, a very famous playwright. The only thing worse than a liar is a liar that's also a hypocrite. So, yeah, it is very similar. Maybe inspired by this, or maybe just a bit coincidental. Honestly, not sure. Here was Karrion, look, responding to Word of Wrestling, actually, saying it's not talking about me. You haven't figured it out yet. And the wording of that is very interesting because the way that Karrion is talking is he's kind of putting you down, really, in the sense of, oh my God, are you so stupid? You haven't worked this out. You can't see the obvious truth. One thing about wrestling fans, they hate to feel like they're behind the curve. They hate to feel like they're not aware of the full picture. So this line here is just a wrestling fan's worst nightmare, right? You haven't figured it out yet, right? Master of mind games, yeah? He is playing so many people on X. It's actually a joy to sit back and just watch him work, to be honest. It's really very impressive stuff. So we actually got Nikki Cross. She responded to a post that Karrion and Scarlett put out the other day where, you know, Karrion wanted to find the Wyatt Sicks and Scarlett was like, just leave it, right? You're in their heads, right? And Nikki Cross said, it's okay. We'll come to you. I I really like that response. I really like that. So, Tony, thank you. Right, and this is the thumbnail. This is the one that people are going to want to really dig into. Now, again, I'm going to say what I've said. Anything Karrion says, certainly on social media, I take it with a pinch of salt. I don't see a need, really, for Karrion to lie here. I don't see how it benefits him lying about this. So that's why I'm open to, like, believing what he's telling me here, right? But I've still got my guard up, right? So I want to give you this warning, okay? So let's have a look and see what Karrion has had to say, right? This was actually a message that he posted back in September. Didn't really get picked up on, or certainly I didn't see it. I didn't pay any attention. I don't think he was feuding with the Wyatt Sicks at that point. I mean, Karrion, you know, he hasn't done a great deal in WWE since his return. He's been criminally underutilized. Actually, his last premium live event match was all the way back at WrestleMania. And, you know, we're nearly at the end of 2024. We're in December now. So, you know, I don't think that he was quite on my radar as much as he is right now. So the name Medea... it's a Greek word, comes from the Greek words meaning counsels or plots. It also seems to be related to the Greek medio, meaning to rule over or protect, and the Proto-Indo-European med, meaning to measure, give advice, or heal, right? It's an interesting word, of course. I think you can see where this is going, right? So here, Medea, like most princesses of Greek mythology, was usually depicted as a beautiful woman in both literature and art. But Medea's most important attribute was her skill as a witch and magician. She was usually associated with Hecate, a goddess of magic, an association that presumably had something to do with her own abilities. Medea always had with her an arsenal of potent potions, herbs, and drugs that allowed her to bend the world to her will, right? Now, I know you're probably sat there going, I don't understand what this means. You wouldn't be alone. But here is from December 4th, right? Yesterday. So here's Bob saying the Fun House was Medea's home. Where's this come from, right? So let's have a look at this. We've got an AI overview, right? So some symbols that were associated with Medea. They include the poisoned crown, right? A symbol of authority that Medea uses as a weapon to destroy the royal house. The crown is a metone or metaphor for rulership, right? The serpent, a symbol of Medea's cunning and dangerous nature, as well as her ability to use powerful magic. In mythology, serpents often symbolize transformation and renewal. The door. This is the key one. The door to Medea's house remains closed throughout the play, and all events and speeches take place outside. The door represents a metaphorical barrier. The crane, in ancient Greek theatre, the actor playing Medea was hoisted onto the roof or suspended over the stage using a crane. This symbolizes Medea's goddess-like status, and Medea's children, a symbol of innocence, as they do not know their mother's pain or the crimes their father committed, right? So we've had all of that, and I think you can see certainly the door, and certainly the children bit. I think you can see a connection to the Funhouse there. The Funhouse had a door. Since when Bray came back, we had the door, right? Obviously, we've had the door again when the Wyatt Sicks returned. Not only that, but like the Funhouse being like a children's kind of play world, if you will, right? Children's television inspired Mr. Rogers. We can kind of see that vibe as well. A couple here that maybe don't quite fit. But again, let's earn full screen. Karrion responded just yesterday, well done. Now, again, I have to say here, Karrion is a master manipulator. He is someone that will tell you what you want to hear. He will give you validation so that you feel good and then maybe feel a connection with him. You know, this person has put, you know, a couple of pieces together here, found a couple of connections, and he's got congratulated by Karrion. And that is a great way of Karrion playing his mind games. And that is a great way of Karrion making you feel good, making you feel like you've achieved something, making you feel like you've cracked a code. Maybe you're the only person in the world that's done it, right? This is the point. Karrion is a master manipulator. He gets into people's heads. We've seen that story play out on TV. He was getting into Xavier's head. He was getting into the Miz's head, right? This is what his character does. And I believe that we are seeing glimpses of that play out on social media. So the only thing I would say is I don't really understand why he would lie about this unless it is just to validate and make people feel like they've done something good, right? And then they feel a warmth to him, a connection to him. Or is it that this is actually what the Funhouse was inspired by? We know some of the inspirations were Mr. Rogers, right? We've heard some of the inspirations previously. I don't think I've ever heard this, though. I've never heard this theory. And we know as well that Wyndham and Karrion were in communication. He's issued and published some DMs. I think they spoke in person as well. You know, there'd be no record of that. But I have no doubt that they both were interested in mythology. They both were interested in the cryptic kind of horror world, right? I'm sure they shared a passion for all things dark and mysterious. And I think they were kind of kindred spirits, to be honest. So, yeah, very interesting. It's really got me questioning if there is actually something to this. And I can't give you the answer to that because I never know if I'm being told the truth or if I'm being lied to. But what I can say is that I don't quite see the benefit of lying about this one right now, other than to just make this person feel like they've done something good, you know? So, Wrestle Night, shout out to you. Very interesting. I hope people find that as interesting as I do. Let's go WWE. So we can sort of blast through this at a pace, hopefully. So, WrestleOps, WWE President Nick Khan confirms that they are not changing the rating of Family Friendly for Raw once it moves to Netflix. We're not changing the rating of our programming. There's some online chatter about how it's going to be R-rated or it's going to be for us old folks. And let's see if we can whoosh it over to get the rest of the quotes. It's going to be for us old folks. That's definitely not happening. It's family-friendly, multi-generational, advertiser-friendly programming, and it's going to stay that way. So you've heard from the horse's mouth, right? If you've been watching Unseen and you've been joining our journey, you'll know that we've been saying this for a long time, that this is not going to change. Because why would you want to lose the kids? Why would you want to alienate advertisers and sponsors when they're making more money now than they ever have before? There is very limited upside to becoming a little bit edgier, right? Very limited and a lot of negative that comes with it, right? So, yeah, this is, for me, the right direction. I don't have any issue with this whatsoever. I think a lot of people confuse PG and TV-14 with better storylines. So if it's PG, it's going to be for children. It's going to be rubbish stories. But if it's TV-14 or even, you know, R-rated, it's going to be better stories. That's a load of nonsense. The rating doesn't make any difference to the quality of the story. It's just, can we use bad language? Can we use bloods? And I still think they will put the odd bit in because we've been getting the odd bit. Look at the bloods that we had between CM Punk and Drew. That cage match was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. Look at some of the bad language that we've seen kind of being used, certainly from The Rock. Right, certainly from The Rock. But there's been other moments where swear words have been said on WWE programming. But again, they just use them fleetingly, right? Rather than just constantly. And honestly, constantly, I think it loses its value. So for me, I have no problems with this whatsoever. And as we said, it's what we were expecting anyway. I know some people might say, but why does it say TV 14 on Netflix? I honestly think that's because they want that freedom to be able to go that little bit further if they want to. But the actual core program is going to stay the same. It's just if they want to go that little bit further at times, they have that little bit of freedom to do that now. Right, Mitchell, shout out to you, said, I think this is a good move. WWE had gotten away from documentaries. So here, look, this is from the Netflix panel, right? This is where all this news is coming from. Netflix and WWE will be working on special documentaries as part of their streaming deal. Johnny, shout out to you. Triple H states that there will be more celebrity involvement once WWE moves to Netflix next month. That's probably not a big surprise, to be honest, because they're going to stack those shows. They're going to want all the stars coming out, right? So I think Travis Scott, is he there? I think he's going to be around. I think they've got Vanessa Hudgens. She's going to be around. For me, I think having stars in the crowd, having, you know, guest commentators, timekeepers, backstage interviewers, you know, whatever. I have no problem with that. I don't have a desire to see these people thinking they can step in the ring and have wrestling matches, right? That's not something personally I look for, but I don't mind celebrities coming into our worlds. Just as The Rock used to say, know your role, yeah? If you're a singer, you're famous because you're a great singer, right? Don't try and get into a ring and do something that it takes trained professionals years and years and years and years to master, right? That's where I get the issue. So, but celebrities coming in, so be it. Johnny, shout out to you. Right, Adam said WWE tour after UK Elimination Chamber. Adam, thank you. I included this because it got posted 18 hours ago and I got tagged in it quite a bit. I can't really expect everyone to watch every second of every Unseen, so there is going to be stuff that we have spoken about before that we may cover again, right? Because unfortunately we live in a world now where engagement is king, and what we're seeing is a lot of accounts reposting the same information a few days apart, right? Sometimes they'll post one story, then a few days later, a completely opposite story. And then a few days after that, we'll go back to the original story that they posted like 4 or 5 days before, right? And they do that because it's just a great way of getting engagement. And engagement seems to make the world go round in 2024. So we got tagged in this. We've spoke about this before. WWE are putting it out now in a nice graphic. So yeah, these are all the places that we're going to. On the road to WrestleMania, we know that we're doing a big European tour. Again, we have covered it previously. If you've not seen us talk about it before, then these are the dates. These are the places. This is the information that you need to be aware of if you are a European WWE fan. Okay, word of wrestling. Triple H states that the move to Netflix and the era itself will be bigger than the Attitude Era. So Triple H calls WWE's Netflix era bigger than the Attitude Era in a major reveal. So, I mean, look, he's excited. He's bigging this up. He wants the world to tune in. He wants all those lapsed fans to tune in. He wants everyone to see what this new WWE is going to be bringing to the table. And I don't know, how do you measure it? I mean, if you measure it by how much money is being made, then this is bigger than the Attitude Era, you know? Even if you measure it by views, I mean, social media now. There was a clip the other day from Survivor Series that did over 100 million views. That moment where Roman grabs the cage and stops CM Punk from leaving that little cage gets over 100 million views. We didn't even have social media back in the Attitude Era. So the idea of a moment like that, getting 100 million views, we're in a very different place as a world, as a society, as a civilization, compared to where we were when the Attitude Era was around. So, yeah, I mean, like, by many, many metrics, what we're going through even now is bigger than the Attitude Era. But I don't know, on cultural impact, is this bigger than the Attitude Era? I would have to say no, and I'm not even sure that the Netflix move is going to change that. just because people have so many options now. If you're really into dressing up as a Furby, meeting up with some friends that also enjoy dressing up as Furbies, and then filming that content for your perverted Furby fan base, good news, you can do that now. But actually, going back to the late 90s, you know, there wasn't really a forum to kind of share that stuff, right? Not that I do that stuff, right? But I'm just saying, there are people out there that do that kind of thing, right? I think. I've never seen. Let's move on. So here we have got Wrestle Talk. Drew McIntyre was dying to come back to WWE TV, according to Triple H. He was dying to come back. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't injured. Let's just give you a little breather for a second. And whether that's spending some time at home, enjoying your family, like whatever it is, here we go. Then, or whatever it is, well, hey, I have this other project I want to work on. I have this project that is Netflix. I'm going to work on that. Whatever, right? Us having that ability to morph and shift things around and keep things fresh, I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us. So I look forward to more of that. So, yeah, basically just talking about how Drew was desperate to come back. I think he kind of, I didn't quite follow the rest of it, if I'm being completely truthful. But Triple H was very, very excited by a lot of the stuff that was being spoke about earlier today, right? One of the other things that was spoke about earlier today, 10 hours ago, this press release came out. We now have confirmation. Saturday night's main event is going to San Antonio, January 25th, right? No information here about UK, WWE Network, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, Netflix, how it's going to be shown internationally. But we know that it's going to be shown on prime time on NBC in America. So, but I am getting lots of people sending me emails where WWE Network are saying that at the moment it looks like Saturday night's main event should be getting shown on the network here in the UK. Obviously, by the time we get to this one in January, that will have switched to Netflix. No word on that, right? We need to get through the first one first. This is the second Saturday night's main event, which will be in January. I think literally like a week before the Royal Rumble, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. But also very exciting. I'm very excited. I love the fact that this show is back. Here's a glimpse of the panel. And We Want Cody said, this picture from the WWE Netflix media event screams volumes. So you can see Cena, you can see Roman, you can see Cody. And Word of Wrestling said, it seems pretty obvious who Netflix want when WWE move over. Right, OTC, thank you. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair are working on what is next for them creatively in WWE. There is possibly a shift in the man character for Becky, as she wants to move on from that character and has done for quite some time. Both are expected to return very, very soon. News as well, Logan, shout out to you. Pat is returning full time. This is not a surprise. We expected him to return. Obviously, he does college football, so there's probably a good chance he'll go away again. Wrestling is not his priority, so he comes in, he seems to do up to WrestleMania, like, you know, the important bit, and then we'll go again as soon as we get closer towards that kind of college football thing. So yeah, not shocked by that. Jang Tae Sang, shout out to you. So tagging me in this picture. Jay said, nice to see the man again. Becky Lynch is back. So this was the superstars that were there. Obviously, we already reported that Becky would be there. So Becky, Seth, Rhea, Ray, Miz, Cody, Punk. I think these are probably Netflix officials or maybe people that work behind the scenes at WWE. Triple H, Nick Khan, Bianca, and Liv, right? Well, Liv put this out, right? She updated it. So where Becky was, she's put a house because she retired her. Where Rhea is, she put the poop emoji. And over here where Bianca is, she put snake. She put the snake emoji. So, Bradley, thank you. Right, we spoke about this the other day, but you can see it's been viewed nearly 500,000 times. I'm not going to go through this again. I spoke about it the other day. People know I'm not a believer in this theory. And I was just going to touch on it because I had so many people going, oh my God, this is crazy. And I was like, oh my God, it's nonsense. So like here, Elite Rocker said, I don't think people have spoken enough about the Karrion Kross effect. I think it's been spoke about too much, right? Every single wrestler that stepped up to Kross has slowly but surely lost their sanity and embraced the dark side. Not true. I mean, just completely false. Because for starters, he feuded with Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio hasn't lost his sanity. He has not embraced the dark sides, right? In fact, there is a theory about Karrion, about how he takes different elements away from his opponents. So I think from Rey, he was meant to have taken patience. From Drew, he was meant to have taken honor, right? From different opponents that he's faced, he's meant to have taken a different element away from him. That's the fan theory, which I also believe to be nonsense. But that's not even the theory that Elite Rockers is presenting. Elite Rockers is saying that every single wrestler has lost their sanity and embraced the dark side. So my question is quite simple. Where's Rey Mysterio? Where's Rey? Because he feuded with Rey, and Rey didn't lose his sanity. Rey didn't embrace the dark side. This is not even the theory that I think is embraced by Karrion fans, right? This is just another level of nonsense. Plus also, can I just point this out? I believe this to be the Rumble, right? It looks like the Royal Rumble to me. Karrion and Carmelo sharing a moment in the ring, right? Brief moment during a Royal Rumble. And it seems like Elite Rockers is saying that this moment here, where these two shared a moment in the ring, somehow led to Carmelo turning on Trick Williams, right? Forget the fact that he was constantly belittling Trick, and there was a whole story, and it was very clear that we were building towards a split between these two. Like, no, apparently it's to do with this moment during the Royal Rumble where Karrion spent a brief moment with Carmelo, right? I find this, honestly, so insulting. Like, I really find it insulting because you've got, like, this one here, the Drew one, right? So Drew McIntyre was in a feud with Karrion, but Drew does turn heel, right? But we know why Drew turned heel, because he fought Roman at Clash at the Castle, and he was cheated out of winning that title in front of his fellow countrymen, right? He was in Wales, a lot of Scottish people had come down, Brits, obviously, everywhere, and he was cheated, he was robbed, because that was the night that Solo Sikoa arrived, right? And then, of course, on Raw, Jey Uso comes over. Jey Uso is a face, and you've got a load of people like, oh my God, Jey, welcome. And Drew's like, have you lost your mind? Did you all forget what Jey did to us all? Did you all forget about the part he played in the bloodline? Did you forget about how he and his family prevented me from being able to win the title in front of my fellow countrymen? You know, to say that this heel turn happened because of Karrion completely erases the actual reasoning and the actual stories and the actual work that these people are putting in. Someone praised Karrion the other day for the new version of Nakamura. And again, I just find that so disrespectful, because Nakamura is putting in so much work, working on his presentation. They've gone and got a new mask made with Jason Baker, and, you know, rather than going, oh my God, Nakamura, you look so good, it's so great to have you back. Instead, we've got people going, thank you, Karrion. Thank you for giving us this version of Nakamura. Even though Nakamura was likely turning heel anyway, right? For me, there's some coincidental stuff in here. I do think these recent examples have probably been the direction they've gone, you know? Karrion having a word, planting the seed, and, you know, people then turning. I don't have a problem so much with these, but some of these older ones, I just think that it's a very loose, very, very loose theory that doesn't even add up under scrutiny, doesn't even stack up under scrutiny. Because again, every single wrestler, what about Rey? What about Rey? And the answer you'll get is, well, he turned on Dominic. Well, yeah, he turned on Dominic because he had a right go at his mom, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. you know, Ray was not bothered if Dominic did anything to him, but if he did something to the family, that was where the line was crossed. And actually, if you go back and watch that moment, the crowd go crazy. The pop is absolutely one of the biggest I've ever heard, because the crowd had been so desperate for Ray to finally stand up for himself against his son that had been so disrespectful, pushing Ray around. You know, Dominic had been putting his hands on Ray. So I think to ignore the stories that were actually being told and instead go, oh, it's all because of Karrion, I just find it so disrespectful. And the fact that this has got so many views, I just find it so disappointing as well. I think there is a real problem in the wrestling community, and I don't think we'll ever change it. And we touched on it earlier, where people really feel like they're missing out on something. So someone has created this theory, right, which I think is a load of nonsense. And I think that it's actually disrespectful. And I think that because someone has created this graphic, pointing out no one will look into this. No one will research this. No one will question this because they can't be bothered. They haven't got time, right? You're just scrolling and you think this person has done the work for you. What they're actually doing is presenting their version of the facts. You know, where is the Ray one here? Where is the Ray one? Why was the Ray one? You must have gone back and looked at his history. So where is the Rey Mysterio feud? Did you not include it because you can't show me the moment where he embraces the dark side and loses his sanity? I'm amazed they didn't put it in and show the moment he lashes out to Dominic. But of course, that was a moment that the crowd really appreciated. And actually, you could argue is not a dark moment. It's a moment where Ray finally stood up for himself and his family because of what Dominic had been doing. So I didn't want to rant about it, but it really annoys me. It really gets to me. I find it so disrespectful that the fact I have to look at this nonsense. That's the dark side of Unseen, to be honest, is I get tagged in a lot of stuff which is really rubbish. Just real lot of nonsense. Engagement farming. I class this as engagement farming. It's not even the theory that has done the rounds. The theory that has done the rounds is that he took Drew's honor and he took, you know, blah, 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 different people's patience, temperaments, all that kind of stuff. That was the theory. This isn't even the correct theory. But, you know, 15,000 likes, nearly 500,000 views, people tagging me going, oh my God, this is amazing. It's just nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense. I flipping hate it. And of course, where it's nonsense and where I hate it, of course Karrion's going to come in and go, welcome to the new timeline. Well, it must be true because it works to Karrion's favour. This makes Karrion look amazing. Karrion now's got the ability to go around and change people, hasn't he? Well, I can't wait to see what he does to the Wyatt Sicks. Can't wait to see I can't wait to see how he's going to change every single person he feuds with for the rest of his career. Good luck, WWE Creative. Good luck. I can't wait to see how you're going to book that. If this is apparently the story you're booking, right? Apparently WWE Creative are changing everybody to heels that Karrion is feuding with. Well, let's see how long that lasts. And actually, it hasn't even lasted because of Rey Mysterio, but let's not get back into it. Plus, also, I could throw names in like Madcap Moss, which was a feud for Karrion, but it's funny, isn't it? I don't see Madcap on here. It's funny, isn't it? Bit weird. Bit weird. I can't see him. Very strange. It's as if certain feuds have been left off because they don't fit the narrative. I said I wouldn't rant. Right, Word of Wrestling said uncensored swearing on Netflix going forward in 2025. Right, crowd chants with profanity most likely will be uncensored. Not sure how I feel about this. Crowd chanting profanity will be most likely uncensored. I suppose it depends on the words. But, yeah, I mean, I suppose it depends on the words, doesn't it? I mean, if it's good-humoured, good-natured, then I suppose. But, I don't know, man. If you give the English a chance to flipping chant profanity, it could get very spicy. It could get very tasty. So, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that one. And Karrion continued with that as well. Curse of the cards, the dark influence, the effect, call it whatever you want. Coincidental, how about that? Now they see the vision, the devil they know versus the devils they don't. So there we go. Believe what you want, kids. Believe what you want. Right, what else have we got here? We have got a little bit in community. So, Miss Clown, shout out to you. There's Miss Clown with Big E. So, that's when he had a Zoom call with Big E. So, he just wanted to share that after everything that had gone down. I think this was only yesterday, actually. I think he was giving him some words of encouragement. And look, they seem to be working, so... And Raymond, shout out to you. So getting viewed by Stephanie Vacour. I don't really get how Instagram works, to be honest. I can understand follows and likes a lot better. But Raymond's excited. So there we go. I think it means that she saw one of his posts. So there we go. Let's go over to fun, shall we? See what we've got over here. Kelly the Wise Lady sent me this 48 minutes ago. Someone at WWE needs to be fired. They're getting Karrion mixed up with Jesus or the devil you know. So, following the attack on Scarlett, Uncle Howdy says the Wyatt Sicks are ready for the New Testament, and the Miz the New Testament. Catch WWE action on Peacock, WWE Network, USA Network, blah, 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 blah. Well, there we go. Apparently, we're feuding with the New Testament. So, SlamX, shout out to you. Yeah, this is pretty fun. So, this was a video that Sol Ruca put up. So, here she is, look, going all the way over to her vehicle. I don't know quite how she manages to do that. There must be... There we go. Amazing. It must be that she's got quite a bit of a lip just above the door. And, yeah, and there she goes. Drives up. Very impressive, isn't it? Very good. Right, Jen, DTA. Appreciate it. 90s WWE. This is my Christmas spirit. There's my bank balance. I thought that was very, very good. And I think we should have some stuff in other. Yeah, I need to look at this. I've never heard this. So Word of Wrestling said big news. So Sergeant Slaughter is claiming that the Ultimate Warrior wasn't told that he'd be losing the title at the Royal Rumble. And it was actually a screw job finish. So I have never heard that. I have never heard that the Ultimate Warrior wasn't aware. Obviously, the Macho King comes down, nails Warrior with the scepter. Warrior grabs it, gets rolled up. 1, 2, 3. Warrior's grabbing his head and everything. But I honestly never heard this news. I mean, this is the kind of thing that Warrior would really have not took very well at all. Being, like, screwed over. Like, he would not have tolerated this. And I never heard of any fallout or anything. So, yeah, I don't know. I really need to look into that. But according to Sergeant Slaughter on the Break Room podcast, this was a screw job. Warrior wasn't told he was losing the title. Right, okay, let's go into thanks, shall we? Because we've got a fair bit of thanks to get through. So, BreeTube10, Kelly the Wise Lady, Alpha Fly, Ariel Liz, Mattel, Chris, Jang Tae-sang, Raymond, OTC, Casper, Jang Tae-sang again, I Am the Color Red, Word of Wrestling, Sweet Chin Wrestling, and Wrestling's Biggest Fan. So we've got those. And then I've got the Wyatt thanks. So Jonathan, Ian, Richards, Arrows 1, Cub Fan 16, Ratchet the Owl, Gabe, Brandon, Freddie, FGC Dads, CM Chunk, Wrestling Fan Since Day One, Howdy LFC, Raymond's, Little Fuego, James, Leah, Casper, Edward, and Craig. Shout out to all of you. Really appreciate the support. As we said, lots of news for us to get our teeth into with this one. Hopefully we get some more fun bits and bobs, but I didn't want this video really going even this long. Otherwise I could have added a few more fun things in here, but this'll do. Clocking in at nearly 45 minutes, this'll do. And I think about half an hour of that was me ranting about that Karrion theory, so I hope you have a good evening, and we'll see what we've got for Unseen tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.